everybody, welcome to the show. I'm here with Plato today. We're going to be bringing you a story straight out of Forbes. This is about the Witcher series. A producer has come out and apparently started attacking entire countries over this thing. They're not happy that their show isn't doing well. It's a failure. It's failed in many ways, and even their future plans look bleak and uninteresting. And they have continued to attack fans throughout this entire process, attack Henry Cavill, admit their failings in different ways, like just saying that the source material is not as good as whatever they're cooking up inside of their studio writer's room, blaming Henry Cavill for some of the show's failures as well, saying that he's irritating and hard to deal with on set. But the reality is slowly kicking in for these people as they are beginning to realize that the people have turned against them, specifically in terms of The Witcher. And we're going to read about this. The Witcher producer blames stupid Americans and emotional young people for the show's failures. I'm going to come right out and say it. I mean, if you're going to write off an entire country, call an entire country dumb, I don't think that you have an argument. In fact, I think you've just discredited yourself. Why would you ever go after an entire country? Falsely, by the way, but this writer's going to give their thoughts as well, and no one agrees on this. No one's happy about this. The mainstream is just like, hold on a minute. Check this out. There are times when not opening one's mouth is the right call. Times when silence is golden. Occasionally simply not speaking your mind is better than word vomiting all over the internet. I agree. Okay, same is true for me in some ways. For instance, let me introduce you to Tomek Baginski, a producer on the Netflix fantasy drama The Witch Her. Baginski should perhaps follow the advice of Maurice Switzer, who sagely wrote, "It is better to remain silent at the risk of being thought a fool than to talk and remove all doubt of it," which I think is an excellent quote. The Bible actually says something similar. Speaking with Polish news site Wyborcza, as translated by fan site Redanian Intelligence, Baginski gave many reasons for changes to The Witcher show from the books and short stories, including production chaos and unforeseen issues like actors falling ill, understandable reasons, before saying this: "When a series is made for a huge mass of viewers with different experiences from different parts of the world, and a large part of them are Americans, these simplifications not only make sense, they are necessary." So he's calling Americans stupid. He's calling us all stupid. He just wrote off the entire country of America and blamed us for the show's problems. We had to dumb it down, you guys. Don't you understand how dumb Americans are? They're not going to understand this complex story about The Witcher that we're making even more complex and convoluted by adding in a multiverse plotline. You would have to be a really, really high IQ to be able to understand a show like this, and that's clearly not what Americans are. They can't handle this show. That's why the show's failing. We're just too smart for Americans. We're too smart for our audiences. Season 3 wasn't a total crapshoot with a nonsensical storyline and terrible acting. No, of course not. It's you. You're the problem. It's painful for us. And for me too. Yeah, it's painful for everybody. It is. To see what you're saying, it is painful. But the higher level of nuance and complexity will have a smaller range. It won't reach people. Sometimes it may go too far, but we have to make these decisions and accept them. So making our show totally over complex, that's normal. And that's just something you had to do because we had to not let the Americans understand it. We had to do that. I'm not sure what he's trying to say. Do you hear that, fellow Americans? This is from Forbes now. The higher level of nuance and complexity in the books is simply going to be lost on us. We were so confused by the books that we didn't turn them into bestsellers in the United States. Oof! Our poor empty heads were so rattled by the complexities of CDPR's games that we didn't turn the game franchise into one of the most lucrative and well-regarded RPGs in history. You tell him, Forbes! You tell him! Look at this! This is a total smackdown. The poor creators of The Witcher were quite literally forced to dumb down the show because so many Americans were going to watch it. And clearly, that requires changes from the books that make no sense and are confusing for totally different reasons. You go, Forbes. I hope Forbes just tells them exactly how it is. Call out this stupid producer who said the stupidest thing imaginable, writing off an entire country. Congratulations. You are not very smart. But not just Americans, no. Oh, so it's not just Americans? Okay. Changes to The Witcher that almost certainly drove away its star, Henry Cavill, and have seen the most egregious dip in viewership for its season 3, Volume 2 episodes also lays at the feet of young people and TikTok. Really? Behold this insane exchange between the interviewer and Baginski. Man, this is getting good. I like this article. I really do. Baginski says, the audience changes. It's not like it all changes. I see the quickening of the process, as Jacek Ducage wrote about in his book after the script. We resign from cause and effect chains, from linear narration. This book-like narration, when it comes to shows, the younger the public is, the logic of the plot is less significant. And I'm actually going to give the thunder to Forbes on this one. I'm going to let them lay the smackdown on this guy. Because when I was reading this, as I was going along, I thought the exact same thing. Just think about any show that came out in the last couple of years that was slightly complex, that you really enjoyed and was really popular with audiences, okay? Do I even need to name it? I'm pretty sure I know the first thing that pops into your head when I say that. I know. I'm with you. As you're thinking it, I'm thinking the same thing. But let's let them say it, because this is hilarious. Interviewer says, what is significant then? Baginski replies, just emotions, just pure emotions, a bare emotional mix. Those people grew up on TikTok and YouTube. They jump from video to video. Wow. Interviewer says, you're talking to such a person. And the interviewer's like, what? Baginski says, okay, so it's time to be serious. Dear children. Dear children, he says, dear children. What you do to yourself makes you less resilient for longer content, for long and complicated chains of cause and effect. He's just going off on a tangent right now. He's like up in his own brain, his own head, just like, oh, you dear stupid whippersnappers of the United States and other places like it. You could never understand a complex show written by us amazing writers and produced by amazing philosophical producers like we. You will have no chance in this world. How dare you even try to speak out on The Witcher? Could a person be more condescending than this? The interviewer just told him that he was the demographic Baginski was describing, and he has the audacity to come back with a dear children response. Ooh, Forbes isn't happy about this one. I have a hard time blaming the writers when I see a producer make these comments. Yeah, but we can blame the writers too. Okay, they could have written something far better. It's not like the producers had complete, full control. I won't believe that. Okay, I know that some of these writers are actually proud of the work that they have done. I'm certain that a great deal of the actual problems this show has are passed down from those in charge, maybe partially. I mean, producers saying things like this, it's bad. It's obviously bad. With writers forced to make changes they otherwise wouldn't make. Certainly there are writing problems as well, but this makes it obvious that the dumbing down of the witch her was intentional and motivated by ludicrous business reasons, aka make more money, and bizarre logic. Well, these problems stemmed all the way back to Season 1. Already there were issues with the story in Season 1's The Witcher, although I feel that the first season of The Witcher was the most accurate to the books. Season 2, they just killed off characters that people loved. And they did it for the stupidest reasons ever, with no build-up to them. And they also left Cavill out for most of the show, and they just started building towards a Yennefer Ciri plot. And no one really wanted that. Everybody just wanted Henry Cavill, and then the drama with Henry Cavill just kind of sprung up, and then the writer's strike, of course, with Season 3 and Season 4, and honestly, there's a lot going on with this show, a lot of problems. But one thing that I think should not be done is blaming an entire country that isn't your own country for the problems of a show. I feel like that is just borderline psychopathy, if not already crossing that threshold. That's insane. Okay, don't ever think that this kind of thing to say to people is okay. It's really not. It's not. Especially when you're trying to promote a failing, dying show for Netflix. I mean, that's huge. If Americans and young people can't handle complex television, why are shows like, and here we go, Game of Thrones so popular, right? Why does Succession win so many awards? Why was House of the Dragon a hit, right? How many people watched House of the Dragon? How many thought that the storyline was simple? I didn't. How many people thought that the Game of Thrones plots were simple? I'm not talking about Season 8, okay? I know that we can all acknowledge that Season 8 sucked, but Game of Thrones was an amazing show and one of the most complex shows out there. And it was extremely popular in the United States. Like, people jumped over each other to make these premieres for each episode, made entire videos about it. It deep dives into the lore, you name it. There is a clear disconnect between these producers and the audiences that they're trying to cater to. they're not doing a good job. We love to get into the lore of these shows and movies, and we like to dissect them. We like to compare them to the original source materials and works, because that's exactly how you build a fandom up. It's how you, I mean, this is the fandom that you're talking to. These are the people who grew up reading books like The Witcher and The Lord of the Rings and Wheel of Time and the Game of Thrones books. We read it, we dissected it, and that's how we all got hyped up for these shows that you guys advertised to us. So why are you sitting there calling an entire country dumb because you're too stupid to write a show that's entertaining in any remote way? My rant is complete. Let's continue this, okay? Americans enjoyed The Sopranos, The Wire, Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul. I mean, yeah, the list goes on and on. American TV isn't stupid. There's just stupid TV being made by Americans out there. But that doesn't mean that Americans are stupid in general, that we're less educated because we don't understand your convoluted plot in The Witcher 3. I bet you don't even know what your story is in The Witcher 3. I bet you don't even know what's going on in the show. I bet you've never even watched one episode of it. And young people, those addled by TikTok and Instagram, seem to enjoy many of these shows too. They are not driven purely by emotion. I have 2 teenage children, the writer, who enjoys shows like Severance and Barry, shows with complicated characters and narratives. I actually just started watching Barry recently, really great show. I didn't even watch it while it was out. It apparently ended. I love it, and it's not a simple show. It's very complex. These people don't pay attention. This is one of the most insulting interviews I've ever had the misfortune to read. Netflix should keep a tighter leash on its spokespeople. Better yet, hire creatives who don't have disdain for their audiences and the source material they're seeking to adapt. It isn't that hard. I could not have said it better myself. I agree with this Forbes writer. This is some of the most insane ranting I've ever seen from somebody who apparently had the audience's best interests in mind. These writers are going out telling everybody that this multiverse thing is going to be amazing. And then this producer comes out and says, well, all of the American audiences are dumb anyway. They would never understand this. It makes me think that there's just some kind of really sick poison being passed around up there. And Netflix, Hollywood, whoever is making these shows, they just have this hatred for the people that they make shows for. Why are you in the business of making shows if this is the kind of thing that you're going to be saying? Why are you being divisive? Why are you trying to split people apart and get everybody angry at you for your own mistakes in this show? Some of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard. I want to know exactly what you guys think. Share your thoughts in the comments. Like and share this video. If you'd like to see more videos like this, consider subscribing. I look forward to seeing you all again next time. Say goodbye, Play-Doh. Meow, meow.